2016, there are currently 20.9 million cases of human trafficking going around the world right now. This puts us by us being the same age group as many human trafficking victims. Human trafficking affects many families worldwide, which causes grief among all of them. It affects and basically demoralizes and makes them all sad, basically, since one of the family members is a victim of human trafficking. Now, as college students, there isn't much I suppose we could do about human trafficking, but there are some solutions we can employ to help solve human trafficking. What we're going to tell you are the causes, effects, and solutions of human trafficking. Causes such as sex and money will create and affect the victims, such as physical injuries and drug abuse. And we're also going to tell you some solutions you can use, such as fundraising donations, creating more awareness, and just protecting yourself. Our first main point on the causes of human trafficking is what I gave.
So much like many of the problems that plague the world around us today, human trafficking and slavery are fueled by sex and money. Now, this drives the motivation for the buyers and sellers to keep participating in this industry because they're still seeing a profit in what they're doing, and they're still fulfilling the sexual desires that they feel. And this is horrifying because it's happening not in just one country or another country, it's happening all around the world in many countries. And it's a real problem that's often overlooked every day. Now, money is the root of all evil. To generalize it would be unfair, but to say the statement isn't true would be a lie. The main reason human trafficking has grown so big in the world today is because of the money that it brings in. More than $30 billion comes from this industry alone. Now, the men, women, and child are all just seen as interchangeable parts. You know, when they're done, or when the buyers or sellers are getting bored of what they're doing for them, they can just go and look for other people that they can buy and sell. And that's not to say that when the former slaves are sold, they're free, they're used in a different area of the sexual or human trafficking ring. Now, we can't ignore one of the biggest aspects of slavery and human trafficking, and that would be the sexual pleasure of it. Sex is the motivation and reason that many slave traders participate in the buying and selling of men and women and children. And the women are targeted especially because many of the slave traders and buyers are typically male. Now, the men and women and children never asked to be sold for sex. They never asked to be bought for sex, but that's what's happening. And just like other aspects of slavery and human trafficking, the people are bought and sold far too easily. And when you're considering their purpose, in this case sex, it's far more troubling to think about that, how easily they're sold for their bodies and their physical powers. And obviously all these causes come with great effects, which will tell you about now.
So now that we've understood the causes of human trafficking, I would like to talk about three main effects of human trafficking, which are drug addiction, physical abuse and injuries, and also psychological trauma. To start with drug addiction, the victims of human trafficking are often forced to take overdose of drugs in order to make them succumb to the demands of their caretakers and handlers. Now, this in turn could make the victims get addicted to these drugs even without them knowing it. Talking about physical abuse and injuries, the victims of human trafficking are often physically abused, and this could include being beaten up or starvation and being raped. Now, all this has two main effects on the victims: the physical effect and the psychological effect. For the physical effect, it causes injuries and pains on the bodies of these victims, while for the psychological effect, it causes depression for these victims, high level of anxiety, nervousness, and frustration. Now, according to The Guardian, from a survey that was carried out in 2015, with over 21 million slaves of human trafficking, which numbers, by the way, are increasing by the year, it's only obvious that these effects are becoming more severe. Now, I know as students, we may ask ourselves, how does human trafficking relate to us? Or why is human trafficking such a big deal? But as I mentioned from my last speech, we are all within the target age range for the victims of human traffickers. And this fact is supported by the Human Rights Trust, whose statistics show that 55% of the victims of human trafficking are women and girls, while 45% of the victims of human trafficking are men and boys. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, we all need to be aware of the fact that an issue such as human trafficking actually does exist, protect ourselves more, and be more security conscious. Moving on, sex trafficking, which is a form of human trafficking, also comes with its own effects. It's sad to say that girls could be forced to sleep with men, and this could cause sexually transmitted diseases or even unwanted pregnancies. In summary, all these effects lead to shame for the victims. Socializing becomes rather difficult, and distrust makes it really hard for them to let anyone in or even trust anyone. So it's a horrifying experience that no one should have to go through. Now I've spoken about the effects of human trafficking. I would like Nana to talk about solutions that we could apply as students to help eradicate human trafficking.
You see, there are three solutions you can use to help fight human trafficking: fundraising and donations, creating more awareness, and just protecting yourself. I'll first talk about fundraising and donations. Money, as you all know, money, as you all know, can help solve a lot of issues, whether that be a community issue or a personal problem. However, you guys make this a lot of times. I implore you to please donate some money to help fight human trafficking. Imagine if it was one of your own family members. You need money to help fund that person. Another way to help fight human trafficking is creating a fundraiser. Now, this is probably a better alternative than just donating money, as you can raise more money, plus you won't have to pay from your own pocket. Another solution to human trafficking is creating more awareness. Now, you guys probably already knew what human trafficking was before we started this whole speech. However, some people can identify victims of human trafficking. So, according to DHS.gov, last revised June 29, 2016, we're recognizing key indicators of human trafficking is the first step in identifying victims of human trafficking and can help save a life. There's more identifications you can look at websites, such as this person seems scared to say all the time, or does the person seem told what to say and do all the time. There are more indicators you can look at and use to create more awareness in the world. Another way to create more awareness is by explaining some myths of human trafficking. According to the same website, DHS.gov, last revised June 29, 2016, human trafficking victims will not always attempt to seek help when in public, usually because they're scared of captors and what they might do to them. There's more myths online that you can look at and use to create more awareness. One last solution you can use to help with human trafficking is by protecting yourself. Now, obviously, not going out alone at night is a good way to protect yourself. However, the most common way human traffickers get people is by enforcing them to using force, fraud, and coercion to basically capture the victims. Say, for instance, you got some financial trouble and you need to get a loan to some questionable party. Failure to pay back that loan would make you a slave to that party, and then just like that, you can traffic business. Another way is you were caught doing fraud by somebody and they blackmailed you to doing whatever they wanted. Just like that, you can human trafficking business as well. If you don't commit a crime, you won't get in trouble. Another solution which I found interesting is that human traffickers can steal your personal info to do against you. They can steal your credit cards, your social security card, or maybe your birth certificate, and use it against you. So basically, just keep that kind of stuff locked up tight so strangers can't reach it. Now, you may think that this solution seems kind of simple, but you won't believe that a lot of people just simply forget and are now victim of human trafficking. Make sure to take extra care to protect yourself and your family so that you or anyone you know never has to experience human trafficking. So in conclusion, which Uso will talk to you about.
So we talked about the importance of helping the victims of human trafficking. We talked about human trafficking, its causes, effects, and basic measures we can take as students to help protect ourselves and also help the victims of human trafficking. So today I urge you all to be more observant, to protect ourselves more, and spare whatever time we can to help the victims of human trafficking, and also engage in activities such as fundraising and donations. And in turn, in future, this will create a slave-free world for all mankind. Thank you.